So it was a hard, goodbye that I feel like I mourned the wrath of Snow White while I was in the middle of kind of getting my bearings on the Hunger Games set.
You're standing or whatever. So it's less like a crush and more about you're obsessively into this person.
Hey there, Eileen here, bringing you the ultimate Snow White showdown. Snow White isn't just some fairy tale princess, she's a legend, a true pioneer of Disney magic, shaping dreams since 1937. But guess what? Her legacy is now in the middle of a fiery battle between two reimaginings, each fighting for the love of fans worldwide. Staggering you. On one side, we've got Rachel Zegler, the rising Hollywood star who dazzled us in modern musicals. On the other, BrettCooper, a YouTuber turned actress and former Daily Wire personality, sticking to a more classic no-frills approach. Talk about a clash of styles, huh? As rumors swirl about the Daily Wire's financial troubles and Rachel's bold interviews continue to spark debates, fans are left with one burning question. Which Snow White will reign supreme? Let's take it back to where it all began, 1937. Disney's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs didn't just entertain. It revolutionized cinema. The first ever feature-length animated movie, bursting with hand-drawn brilliance, enchanting melodies, and unforgettable characters, redefined the fairy tale genre. And oh, did it set the gold standard for Disney princesses, creating an icon of innocence, kindness, and timeless themes like friendship, resilience, and true love's power. For many of us, that original film was pure childhood magic. Singing animals, a dreamy forest, and the ever-charming prince. But today, as we gear up for this epic Snow White face-off, one thing's for sure. The legacy of this beloved tale is about to be rewritten in ways we've never seen before.
One where he was in the boxing ring. And Howard Cosell, who was then a famous announcer for ABC Sports, introduced him. And I was asked at some point to get Mr. Sinatra Listerine. You're at Madison Square Garden. It's not like there's a Listerine store in Madison Square Garden. So I dutifully ran out and found a drugstore of some sort. This is before CVS. This is 45 years ago. Anything that has to do with technology creating opportunity for us, I find very enjoyable. The creative process at its highest level is at times frustrating, but often, and fortunately for us, really enjoyable.
But cultural perspectives are always evolving, and creators today often feel the need to put a fresh spin on classic stories. For some, these reimaginings bring new life and empowerment to old tales, while others see them as shallow attempts to chase trends. Enter two radically different projects vying to retell the Snow White story, each one exposing sharp divides among fans. When Disney announced Rachel Zegler as the new face of Snow White in their latest live-action adaptation, the reactions were anything but quiet. Zegler, celebrated for her breakout role in a recent musical, quickly found herself at the center of controversy. Why? Interviews began circulating where she called the original story old-fashioned, insisting Snow White needed an upgrade. No longer just about finding true love, the character should embody bold leadership and independence. At first glance, these ideas seem empowering, a princess taking charge and leading her kingdom, but not everyone was on board. Many fans felt hurt by Zegler's dismissive tone toward the 1937 classic, a film beloved for its innocence and charm. Critics argued that her comments made it seem like she had little respect for Snow White's origins, with some even claiming she hated the original movie and had only watched it once. Even neutral observers raised concerns. Would the timeless sweetness and optimism of Snow White be replaced by a cynical modern edge? The debate rages on, with fans questioning whether these changes are truly a step forward or a loss of what made Snow White magical in the first place. And I think it's really important to remember this is
she's my best friend, and she's the one who like sent me the casting notice and said, "Thank me when you're famous." It's the craziest thing ever that it came true in that weird way, and that's why I bring her everywhere. She's the best ever. But yeah, I put myself on tape. It's the worst tape you've ever seen in your life. I have no idea how I got the part still. And it's being used to teach future casting directors at NYU.
Zegler's comments sparked a cultural firestorm, igniting calls for progressive storytelling while provoking outrage from fans who viewed any drastic rewrite as a betrayal of Disney's cherished heritage. But just when it seemed like the debate couldn't get any hotter, an unexpected challenger entered the scene. BrettCooper, best known for her YouTube presence and her work with the conservative-leaning Daily Wire, shocked everyone by announcing her own Snow White film under a separate production banner. The news grabbed attention from casual moviegoers and die-hard Disney fans alike. Could a talk show host take on such an iconic role, especially with a smaller studio? As more details emerged, curiosity turned into excitement. Cooper's version promised a return to the classic roots of the fairy tale. Early rumors hinted that her adaptation would stick closely to the Brothers Grimm source material while maintaining the charm of Disney's original. A gentle heroine, heartfelt romance, and that unmistakable touch of whimsical magic. In interviews, Cooper spoke passionately about the original film, praising its sense of wonder and moral clarity. She emphasized her intent to honor those timeless qualities, and that message struck a chord with many fans. For audiences longing for the purity and optimism of the old-school Snow White, untainted by modern cynicism, Cooper's vision felt like a breath of fresh air. Still, not everyone was convinced. Skeptics questioned whether her approach might feel outdated or even regressive compared to Disney's push for a more modern, feminist take on the character. The question remains, will Cooper's nostalgic approach capture hearts, or will it fall short in a world hungry for reinvention? This rivalry gets even juicier when you consider the rumors swirling around BrettCooper's former employer, the Daily Wire. Insiders claim that CEO Jeremy Boring has been buzzing with panic, hinting at a potential crisis that might include financial trouble. Online chatter has taken it a step further, suggesting Cooper's departure from the company wasn't exactly on good terms. Could this reflect deeper issues within the organization? Some speculate that Cooper's leap into a Hollywood production was her bold way of saying she wouldn't let internal drama define her future. Others argue that her exit might have been forced, pointing to alleged conflicts with the Daily Wire's top brass. Regardless of the truth, the timing is hard to ignore. While Rachel Zegler's modern Snow White was facing public backlash, Cooper was quietly putting together her own project. And as rumors about the Daily Wire meltdown spread, the spotlight on Cooper's new path only grew brighter. This raises some fascinating questions. Will the Daily Wire drama cast a shadow over Cooper's film? Or could it, ironically, boost her appeal as a rogue figure carving her own path? Public curiosity about Hollywood's behind-the-scenes drama has never been higher, and every new detail about these tensions only fuels interest in her version of Snow White. At this point, many fans are asking, why can't we have two versions of Snow White? But the truth is, this rivalry goes beyond just two actresses playing the same role. It's a snapshot of a much larger cultural battle that's been simmering in Hollywood for years. On one side, there's Rachel Zegler's modern take, aiming to redefine fairy tales with contemporary values like self-empowerment, independence, and leadership. When Ian Paisley, who is Ian Unhinged and all... This clash is about more than just entertainment. It's a reflection of how deeply divided audiences are when it comes to the stories they want told and what values those stories should champion.
It's not designed right now to necessarily develop great leaders or to encourage more people to seek public office. It just is far more difficult. I've never been in it, but from what I observed, it's far more difficult to run for office today than ever before. The rice has to be body temperature, and if it takes too long to serve it, it's no longer body temperature. But what was interesting to me about him was he had 3 Michelin stars, and he was still trying to learn how to get better.
Yes.
Get better.
Yes.
And I showed that to executives.
On the flip side, BrettCooper's take embraces the timeless innocence of the original Snow White. She's doubling down on themes like love, kindness, loyalty, and the belief that good will always triumph over evil. These are the qualities many fans see as the heart of Snow White's story. Meanwhile, Rachel Zegler's comments, dismissing the old-fashioned notion of true love, have rubbed some fans the wrong way, with critics calling her version a joyless retelling that clashes with the legacy of the 1937 classic. The deeper issue is this: plenty of fans still hold the original formula close to their hearts, especially in today's often cynical world. For them, Snow White represents a beacon of hope and optimism, not a story that needs a radical overhaul. On the other side, Zegler's supporters praise her for pushing boundaries and refusing to let an 80-year-old film define what modern audiences should value. This cultural tug-of-war has reached a fever pitch on social media. Every time Zegler posts a clip or gives an interview, the internet erupts with fiery opinions. Some hail her as a feminist trailblazer for challenging what they see as a patriarchal narrative. Others criticize her for dismissing the timeless themes and belittling the charm of Disney's original masterpiece. Meanwhile, BrettCooper has been winning over fans with her commitment to preserving the essence of the classic tale. TikTok is flooded with fan-made videos celebrating how Cooper's Snow White captures the spirit they remember. At the same time, critics of Zegler have compiled viral montages of her interviews showcasing what they perceive as smug or dismissive remarks. In the end, this battle over Snow White isn't just about 2 films. It's about what stories mean to us and how they evolve with the times. Fans on both sides are passionate, and the stakes couldn't feel higher.
No, and I feel like it was like that for a lot of us. It's easier for me than it was for Tom because I wasn't playing a character that had already existed in the previous films, and those performances are so wonderful that you don't want to try to recreate anything because there's the fear of failing miserably. But also, it's 64 years before the original films take place, the original books, and Francis Lawrence, who directed Catching Fire and both Mockingjay films, and Nina, who produced all of the Hunger Games content, they didn't put any pressure on us to try to recreate anything.
The Snow White War has become more than just a debate. It's a battleground for the soul of Disney, fueling anti-Disney sentiment in a time when every controversy sparks intense online battles. For some, it's a fight to preserve the innocence that made classic Disney movies special, while for others, it's a call for princesses to grow up and evolve with the times. Zegler's comments about feeling attacked by online threats only added fuel to the fire. Some people sympathize, emphasizing that no actor deserves to face personal harassment. But many others argue that Zegler's dismissive remarks about the 1937 classic invited the backlash. They believe it was only a matter of time before the controversy erupted. No matter where you stand, one thing's clear. This is a volatile situation whenever a beloved childhood icon gets reimagined. To add even more tension, both Snow White projections are rumored to be released around the same time, maybe even within the same year. That sets the stage for a direct competition at the box office or on streaming platforms. And Zegler's Snow White has the official Disney stamp of approval, and that's a huge advantage in terms of marketing and branding power. But Cooper's film has struck a chord with fans who crave a faithful old school retelling. Insiders whisper that Disney may be worried about the negative fallout from Zegler's interviews and how it could affect ticket sales. While the Disney brand usually ensures a strong opening, the studio is aware that public perception plays a huge role in a fairy tale's success. If fans feel like the new version disrespects the classic, that goodwill could quickly turn into a problem at the box office. In the end, this rivalry is about much more than just two movies. It's a reflection of the deeper tensions surrounding nostalgia, modernity, and what Disney means in today's world. An interview. This could turn into a PR nightmare for Disney, especially if Cooper's film becomes the gentler, more nostalgic crowd pleaser that fans are craving. But the situation gets even trickier when you factor in the controversy over how dwarves and other mythical beings will be portrayed in each film. Actor Peter Dinklage made headlines by calling out outdated stereotypes after Disney. Meanwhile, Cooper's adaptation seems to be sticking with a more traditional approach, appealing to fans who feel Disney has strayed too far from the story's original elements. This has ignited a whirlwind of rumors, speculation, and heated debate, transforming the Snow White showdown into something far more intense than a simple competition. It's become a cultural tug of war.